Fool's moment. You had your April Fool's moment. Now please do not do that again, or you will have contact with my lawyer.
I got you. Well, that's okay. No lawyers here today. They're the most fearsome legend of them all. But look at this, though. Early stage control, handedly in the favor of SAC Vecinaa. Now, we only got to see a brief glimpse of it before we went into game, but the chat viewer poll did say, I believe is over 70% in the favor of the blue team in this matchup.
I would say that's a very, very fair viewer poll. I would also say like chances of blue team are winning probably 70%. I would definitely vote for them winning, but do not underestimate Hxnter and the Neuz. These guys can make anything happen.
Absolutely. But early off, though, we do have the Ulgrim and Brynn combo. We haven't seen this combo in particular, but we have seen Brynn quite a bit, and we've seen a lot of Ulgrim. But combining them two together, there does feel like there's a bit of a disconnect in the beginning, allowing more 1v1s, but Neuz is making this work out so well with that recovery.
I do believe we saw it one time with TM and Delta before they swapped over to the double Brynn, but you are completely correct in the fact that we usually see way more of this, so I don't blame you there. There's usually a whole lot of more Brynn and a whole lot more Ulgrim in the bracket.
And we don't know, outside of TM and Delta again, we don't really get to see those two together. They're more of like the, I guess you could say primary attackers, and then there's usually that secondary support. But right now in 2v2s, it feels like there's two primary attackers in. Good golly.
That's the South American style, baby. That's the South American style, baby. You got two attackers going ham, just rushing in there, dealing as much damage as possible. I mean, speaking of two primary attackers, look at the other team. We got a Brawlhalla, a glass cannon, and literally the strongest legend in the game.
Very true, very true. Let's see. Are they going to be able to make that strongest legend in the game work?
Neuz?
Okay. No Vecinaa?
Okay.
Okay. Neuz trying to prove all of chat wrong with that viewer poll. The axe, the double axe no less, so strong.
What is going on?
Pulling a TM
oh my God.
on stage, off stage, in between the stage, and SAC the fall. And hey, the 25% wonder, making it work pretty well for game number one.
I think for 15 seconds, Neuz just became the best player in the world. What was that, Keg? What did we just see?
That was just coverage.
The definition of a flow state. He was just going from point A to point B, doing the correct option at the correct time. No misses, no mistakes, just finishing them off. And with that pop-off, they're gonna find the first game. Is he gonna be able to do that one more time, though? Or are they even gonna need to? I mean, that is the real question. I mean, SAC and Vecinaa, you know, they are gonna come back stronger.
True, very, very true. But Neuz is playing a very, very much like TM from the European side, which was an amazing Brynn that we had seen earlier today. That same stage, same legend was in that flow state too. But now we're seeing that counteracting, like you mentioned, Polly. Of course, we're going to see that coming out from blue team. These 1v1s, much more aggressive, much more axe heavy this time around. I believe every single legend here does have an axe to work with. But Neuz is the first to fall on the red team. Hxnter not too far behind either. Their lead might be short-lived.
We're seeing a very, very high-paced game here with players going all over the place, attacking everything that moves practically. And I'm not gonna lie, King, I'm having a little bit of a hard time keeping up, and I feel like maybe these players are too, which is why we're not seeing too many 2v2 combos at the moment.
Well, if you're in a situation like this, it's not about strategy at that point, it's about punishing mistakes. And so whichever team makes more mistakes will be the ones that lose, and Vecinaa jumped right into the ground pound of Hxnter on that rocket lance, down to their final stock.
SAC is popping off on this. Oh my God, I feel so bad for Neuz. Neuz got hit by the N-Sig, then the side Sig, then the Dare, only to come back to get hit by Vecinaa, only to then now being stuck off stage. He does get a hit onto Vecinaa, and he does get a little bit of revenge onto SAC. And he is sustaining the stock. He gets hit by that Sare, though. He's going to be able to come back.
Vecinaa's follow-ups are so good. Look at that Dare. That was all because of the setup from the SAC on the other side of Apocalypse. That is exactly the teamwork that you're looking for. And this is such a great way of turning around game number one, where teamwork kind of was put to the wayside for 1v1s.
Indeed. We still got SAC here. with that additional stock, it will get taken away from him fairly quickly with an axe and a Siggy coming out from Neuz. Now they're trying to focus their efforts onto Vecinaa. They're not able to get that much work done, though. That's a side sig onto a friendly force as well. What is going on, Keg? That's going to be a knockout onto Vecinaa. Now with the 2v1 against SAC, this is a tough spot.
It's not out. It's not impossible, though. Improbable, but not impossible.
They're low. They're low. It is definitely possible. Both Hunter and Neuz are low if he's just able to find that one KO. But Hunter with surgical precision on the offstage with his aerial moves and the weapon throw is going to be able to find that knockout. That's going to be game 2 finished.
I mean, what an impressive effort from both SAC and Hunter there. 600 damage, 500 damage respectively. Really the big playmakers there, but you know, one person with the highlight is Vecinaa. A very poor stock 2 in that last game, had 0 impact there, immediately ground pounded, and I love this change. Now, going into the Sidra, I think this is a great choice. You move away from the axe, you gain the sword, you have a ton of space and coverage, and you're still remaining with the cannon.
Now, we are seeing a little bit of a pendulum effect set into motion here as it's 1-1 on the board now. I'm going to be interested to see if this will be kept up and the other team is going to be able to adapt and take it back from here. That could be quite a long set, or if we're just going to get a sweep from here on out.
Yeah, it's a big question. It really comes down to how Vecinaa plays this Sidra. I want to see what the sword can do, and I think a large part of it is that Vecinaa was afraid to approach offstage, and when they did go offstage, it was against their will. But I think with the sword, there's a lot more ledge guard potential that was a lacking factor for Blue Team these last 2 games. But right now, great follow-up potential. Vecinaa's sword also good for stopping power without too much damage against SAC if need be. And already Neuz has lost that opening stock, and so has Hunter.
That daylight recovery was so clean from Vecinaa. Punishing a Lance Enlight with a GC daylight on the sword. I would love to look at the replay later and look at the hitboxes on that, because I swear to God, you could screenshot that and complain about the hitboxes. Jesus, that was close.
Oh. Neuz was overextending off the stage. Vecinaa does not engage. Keep in mind, too, sword down sig. There it is. Could have been a great ledge guard, super punish against Neuz. But Neuz was reading into that factor even from halfway across the map. Spot dodge perfectly. Now for the punish, the recovery sends Vecinaa to that second stock.
And light coming out, that's going to be the 2v1 combo. They're not able to finish it off. Actually scratch that. Hunter is committing for it. Still, though, aren't able to find that final blow. Now, just trying to play the scramble. Hunter, this is a dangerous position for SAC, and that's going to be them out with Vecinaa soon to follow. Neuz going massive on that axe, but they touched. They're still not out. They're not giving up. They still got some fight left in them, Keg.
We almost had a repeat of the last game where Vecinaa had gone down so early stock 2. And that would be even worse, considering SAC is down to their final stock. Hunter and Neuz have been popping off this series. They do not want to get eliminated in the lower bracket round 1. Not yet. But now they're down to their final stocks too. It's up to Vecinaa to be that onus, that X factor, to maybe keep SAC and Vecinaa in the game.
Oh, this is dangerous for Hunter. You gotta get out of there. You're against a pair of gauntlets. Neuz is there to cover your back, but still, you get knocked down by Vecinaa, ground pounded by your own teammate. Hunter is having such a hard time. He's getting stressed out here. He is able to finally get some ground under his feet, though, but he took a lot of damage, and Blue Team are running away with a damage lead here.
Oh, Vecinaa's in such a prime spot to turn this around right now. Hunter was all set up and distracted with a signature, but didn't want to follow up just yet. Great attacks, but no follow-up. The gravity cancel. D-Seg is good to take down Hunter.
The surprise attack, and now just one final 1v1 to decide it all. Neuz already has an offstage set up. Able to only find one Adair out of it, though. Still, axe in hand, trying to find these aerials. Vecinaa playing very, very grounded here. He's looking for either the aerials in the air, or yet another surprise attack. First the GC D-Sig, and now the GC D-Sig again, but with another weapon. Vecinaa is able to throw anyone off guard, man.
I just can't believe that ending there. Great adjustment. The level 100 Sidra coming in clutch. A snipe, absolutely. And again, I think the biggest change that we're seeing from Vecinaa have been those signatures. They haven't come out too often, but just like a game of chess, not every attack needs to connect. It's good for changing the positioning of red team, and we saw a lot of instances where Neuz was completely locked off stage, forced to respect these down sigs that Vecinaa was bringing out. Had the spot dodge, look for the connect, but still took them out of battle.
And we are actually going to see a different map now. It's going to be a small Fortress of Lions, which is a very interesting pick actually, because I'm sure you've noticed both of these teams, they really like playing offstage. And this time around, if you look down there, there's no opportunity of going to the other side. And in fact, we might be seeing some funny angles here if you get knocked against that slant. And that's going to be 2 knockouts already.
And keep in mind, too, the blast zones for Lions are slightly different than Apocalypse, too. You have to account for that as well when you play almost exclusively offstage. But you're right on the money, Polly. Offstage has been the name of the game, and the biggest punish opportunity against SAC and Vecinaa. Neuz and Hunter, they made a great choice choosing into the stage. The Cider is out, though. Neuz falls. But Hunter, a lot of damage applied to them as well. Deep in red on 2. They want to stay in this series. And if they fall here, we could be looking again at Game 5.
Could be seeing another Game 5 indeed, if they have that much fight left in them. And I mean, they do. I mean, it's not even a question about if, when, why, or what. Look at the game right now. SAC and Vecinaa, they are hungry.
Oh, a nervous duel between the two axes in mid-sight. Good for the scene right now. The neutral game fairly in the hands of what was once SAC, now offstage. Almost a double elim there. There's a great ground pound. Neuz falls. Hunter, the ground pound applied to them. Oh,
That's a 5-stock game. I don't blame him. I don't blame him.
I can't do this.
Yeah, no, I get it. I get that completely.
Oh,
but
Polly.
that's a 5-stock game, man. That's a 5-stock game.
150 damage for both of red team. 150.
Yeah,
both
no,
numbers.
that definitely.
And more combined damage.
The most important part here, SAC and Vecinaa, Neuz and Hunter, their mental, it needs to stay intact. This is what will really throw them off.
Oh,
It's the mental game now.
this is good though. We're not going back to Lions. So that mental that you're talking about, Polly, might be risen back up now that they're going to a stage that isn't Lions. But Neuz is not going to be Brent anymore. Instead, it's the double Ulgrim. Okay. Interesting.
Ulgrim coming out. Actually, only 2 Ulgrims on the stage as well. Would have loved to see a 3 Ulgrim game, 4 Ulgrim game. That would have been.
Oh,
yeah.
no. You just hear the lance nonstop.
That would make for some beautiful clips on Twitter. But it is going to be the double Ulgrim coming out from Hunter and Neuz. So far, working out quite well for them.
Yeah, I mean, this is an even game. Neuz still able to hold on to this first stock. Vecinaa there for the overextended ground pound. Neuz does not immediately go for the punish, plays for safety instead. Power in numbers, the 2v1 as SAC follows at Vecinaa. Possibly soon to follow. Lance back in hands of Hunter. Game 5, both sent off stage. Red team, double Lance, able to survive. Horizontal pressure. Recovery is out and Vecinaa cannot capitalize.
Now Hunter and Neuz, they have a good lead, but SAC is gonna take that stock off of both of the players actually quite quickly with that axe, and he picks it back up, ready to swing against these players, creating 2 isolated 1v1s, which both players seem to be performing quite well in.
Yeah, now the onus on Vecinaa. What can this cannon do against another horizontal weapon? There's 2 of them now. And SAC, at times, left on an island, quite literally on Apocalypse with Vecinaa off stage. Forced to fight sometimes these 2v1s. Neuz is there, though. Down air doesn't quite connect, puts them in the midst of the battle, though. Good coverage to help protect Neuz to get back onto the stage. Vecinaa's there for the cannon, though. Just looking for that place to go for a follow-up. Great spot dodge. Great gravity cancel down sig. Sending Neuz into the sky, no longer with a weapon until now. But SAC caught off guard by the recovery.
Vecinaa
It
able
just
to
keeps
find that
going.
KO, but can we talk about the fact that SAC was hunted down by 2 lances and was able to make it out pretty much scot-free for like 5 seconds? That's crazy. SAC's
Unreal.
maneuvering has been on point so far, and that's gonna be the 2v1 combo. NSC only able to catch one of them. It doesn't even matter. That's so much damage. They have a solid lead now, Kegan.
This is it. The final stocks for lower bracket round 1. Hunter and Neuz had a 25% chance of taking this home according to the chat. If they can prove all of chat wrong, anything is possible for the rest of this tournament. But Hunter falls. It's down to Neuz. The change to the Britain wasn't enough. And despite all the odds, the reverse sweep comes out from SAC and Vecinaa. They move on to lower bracket.
The double D-Light Sayer in both directions, able to close it out. And oh man, is there any team that has deserved a sweep any more than Vecinaa and SAC? Look at their gameplay. That NSC only catching one of them, I mean, small letdown.